In 1954, just a few years after antibiotics became widespread, doctors already saw the problem of resistance. Natural selection meant that microbes able to survive treatment would thrive, turning yesterday's cure into tomorrow's failure. One British physician warned starkly, "We may run clean out of effective ammunition, then how the bacteria and molds will lord it." 70 years later, that prediction feels grimly accurate. The UN calls antibiotic resistance one of the most urgent global health threats. Already, more than 1 million people die annually because infections no longer respond to treatment. That toll is rising, while the discovery of new antibiotics has slowed to a trickle. Antibiotics are unlike other medicines. Paracetamol soothes pain by dampening human nerve signals. Caffeine keeps us awake by blocking sleep-inducing receptors. Antibiotics, however, target bacteria, living organisms that spread between people. That makes resistance a social problem. Every time someone uses an antibiotic, it increases the chance that another person's infection will be harder to treat. For too long, we've spoken of resistance as a technological problem, one to be solved by inventing new weapons. But the real story is different. Most antibiotics are not human inventions at all. They are natural compounds, forged over millions of years by bacteria and fungi fighting their own microbial wars. This should sound familiar. Antibiotics resemble another natural resource we once treated as inexhaustible: fossil fuels. Just as geological forces produced coal and oil, evolution produced antibiotic molecules that 20th-century scientists harnessed to save lives. Both resources promised cheap, seemingly limitless power. Both turned out to be finite and dangerously overused. The antibiotic era is less than a century old. Alexander Fleming noticed penicillin's effects in 1928, but the drug wasn't purified until the late 1930s. At first, penicillin was so scarce that a daily dose was worth more than gold. But mass production during World War II soon made it cheaper than the bottle it came in. Abundance reshaped medicine. Surgery became safer. Cutting into the body no longer meant almost certain fatal infection. Heart operations, organ transplants, and chemotherapy all became possible because antibiotics guarded against bacterial complications. Beyond hospitals, antibiotics fueled industrial farming by reducing disease in livestock and even boosting growth rates. Yet, like fossil fuels, antibiotics come with hidden costs. They remain cheap only because their externalities, resistance and environmental pollution, are not priced in. One study estimated that nearly a third of the world's most commonly used antibiotics end up in rivers, driving resistance in bacteria far beyond hospitals. In Hyderabad, India, wastewater from pharmaceutical plants has been found to contain antibiotic levels 1 million times higher than normal. Resistance, like climate change, exposes global inequities. Wealthy nations gorged on antibiotics for decades before curbing use. Now they urge low- and middle-income countries to exercise restraint, even as millions in those places still lack basic access to life-saving drugs. But here's the key difference. While the world must eventually abandon coal and oil, antibiotics will always remain essential. New models are needed. Some propose publicly funded institutes to create open-source antibiotics. Others suggest large cash prizes for discovery. In England, the NHS is testing a subscription model, paying companies a fixed annual fee for antibiotics regardless of how much is used, rewarding innovation without encouraging overuse. We must also remember that antibiotics aren't the only defense we have. Vaccines prevent countless infections before antibiotics are needed. Public health measures, sanitation, hygiene, infection control, remain as powerful today as in the past. The MRSA superbug, for example, was contained not with new drugs but with rigorous cleaning and hand washing. And as history shows, breakthroughs can arrive unexpectedly. Fleming's mold was once just a laboratory accident. The carefree age of antibiotics is over. Like fossil fuels, their power was never limitless, and their overuse was always unsustainable. But recognizing those limits may be no bad thing. It can push us toward fairer, more innovative, and more sustainable ways of protecting human health. Antibiotics built the foundations of modern medicine. If we want them to remain part of its future, we must start treating them not as a bottomless resource but as a precious one.